Good morning.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
Hey, Annette.
Hey, I got on and I have audio. I'm just.
Yeah, where are you? Are you in your office?
I am. I'm in my, and I see all those messy boxes behind my, I'll try to hide them. I'm in my office and my internet connection is working. I have audio and video. It's going to be a very good day.
It's a miracle.
I put a scary cat head behind me, Annette, because I had a mess back there and I was like, let me go fix this and put something better back there. So I feel your box pain. I do.
I think that's all my confidential shredding that I collect.
Well, my mess was summer clothes for my boys that were gifted to us from my mother-in-law a month ago and haven't made it to their dresser yet. Cause I have to do the big switch over. So that's a chore.
I do that too. I guess with boys though, it only lasts one season. At the end of the season, then you just take it to Goodwill because it won't fit them next year.
Well, yeah, luckily we have, they're 2 years apart. So luckily we do, we switch them out, but my oldest is really tall and skinny and my younger one is shorter and a little bit, he's not chubby or anything, but his body type is just a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
So they're almost in the same size right now.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting figuring out what size to get both of the,
Yeah.
is this size 10 going to actually fit my 9-year-old?
That's right.
If they're shorts, my 11-year-old can usually still fit them, but if we go up to the 12, we need like a 12, 14 for him, but it jumps up to a 14, 16. That never fits him. He's way too skinny.
There's another thing with clothes that are the same size on bodies that are different. Because my daughter and I are exactly the same size in everything, but we're shaped so differently. So we have a whole bunch of clothes that neither of us really want to get rid of because the other one might like it, but most of it doesn't look good on both of us. Like, some of it doesn't look good on either of us. So maybe boys don't care about that as much, but they could.
They don't yet. They might, but not yet. Right now, especially Royce, like he came out the other day in like a t-shirt that looked like he was trying to show off muscles that he didn't have because it was so tight, and his shorts looked like they were they were very short, and I was like, doesn't that feel uncomfortable? He's like, that's fine, this is fine.
That's great.
Nope, we got to go get you some clothes that fit. So I've got to go through all of his summer stuff and get rid of it, pass it down to someone else, and then figure out what fits Quinn and what doesn't, what can go to Royce. And then their dad who does the laundry gets confused on who gets what in their drawer. And so that's always always something that makes people mad. I was
gonna say that could really lead to some fights.
It really does over them. Like, just go put it in your brother's dresser. It's not a big deal, but we fight about everything. So.
Yay.
Great. I'm gonna mute now because we're getting filled.
We have a quorum now, but we also have 2 more minutes, and Deb Rush might join us in the next couple. So for folks who aren't board members or staff members, if you don't mind signing in the chat with your agency affiliation, super helpful to us. And then I'll put the board packet link in the chat too.
Good morning.
Hi, Anne. Deb Rush is joining right now.
Okay, great.
So you've got everybody's here and guests are pouring in.
All right. Somehow my iPad is set up so that it looks like I'm looking down, but that's just the way it is.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Georgiana.
Hi.
Thank you for, you have the sharpest eye. I totally missed. We're ready to fix it when we get to that point in the agenda, but wow.
Well, I'm glad I'm good for something.
You are amazing. Eagle Eye Schuster will call you.
All right. That's a good name. That's a good name.
I do see,
Well, are we ready to start?
yeah, we have a couple of folks who seem to be having a little trouble logging in, but all the board members are here and it's 9. So if you want to get rolling, I'll just keep trying to let folks in.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started and you can let folks in. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Stephanie, do you want to do the roll call, please?
Kim Fisher,
Here.
Deb Rush,
Here.
Georgiana Schuster,
Here.
Ann Robin.
Here. All right, that's everybody. I'm going to ask for approval of the agenda.
Well, I will move that we approve the agenda. This is Georgiana.
This is Kim. I'll second.
Okay, we're on Zoom, so we need a roll call. Thanks, Stephanie.
Deb Rush,
Here? Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Ann Robin.
Yes. All right, the next item is the citizen input public participation. Is there anyone who has anything that they need to say at this time? Okay, as we usually do, I will put this now at the end of the agenda, and if anyone comes forward later, we will open it up for them again. And I have very brief comments today. I want to thank everyone for their work over the last several months, especially the staff, but also the board members. Looking through this packet, personally, I feel like we have done our homework and we're ready to proceed with the important business of approving the funds, which is the main thing that this board does. So I feel pretty good about that. My plan for when we get to the items for approval is that whoever was the person who was the primary reviewer will read the resolution so that it will be in the record, and then we will vote. We will not read all of the comments. We can have comments, but only just the resolution will be read. So that's my comments for today. Lynn?
Hi, thank you so much for setting the stage. But an awful lot of decisions to make today. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I have 2 things to share with you. Both are related to the county. The first is, as you know, we debriefed last month about our visit to a county board meeting to discuss DSP premium pay. After that visit, I learned that the county board had actually earlier in the year regarding their ARPA funding had a long conversation and taken a vote about which sectors to apply premium pay to. And they decided to apply it only to county employees, at least for now, on the premise that agencies and small businesses had received some COVID relief funding, which they may have used for bonuses to critically important staff such as the DSPs. So then Kim Bowdry inquired with the agencies which employ DSPs, especially those in SILA, which was really the most dangerous and the most necessary of all the essential work in the last few years, like as far as getting folks to stay in those jobs in the first place is tough, but then when those jobs became a health risk, and she learned that the agencies had done some level of bonus payment to those critically important DSPs. So given that we stopped working on the DSP premium pay from the county project, it's not a closed issue, but I thought that was a really important vote that they had already taken. I wish I had known sooner, and I apologize for not determining that earlier. But anyway, that's where we are. Kim Bowdry and Kim Fisher have also done some research into how this would have to be worded if they were to take an action at this point. So we could continue on that road. I think that I would like to talk to y'all in June about some similar options that we could maybe use the SILA funds for. So anyway, so that's for the future. The other thing from the county board is, I know it hasn't been made official yet. It was in the newspaper though, that the county board has agreed unanimously to reappoint Ann Robin to her term, which expires June 30th. And then to appoint Miss Vicky Nicewander to the term that's currently vacant, which also starts July 1st. So they're going to wait to start her July 1st. She'll be an excellent addition. She's well familiar with our work. You probably all know her, a great disability rights advocate, really knowledgeable of state processes. So great choices from the county. I'm tempted to go to their meeting just to tell them thank you. So, I mean, they've made a number of really great appointments for the DD board and the mental health board lately. So anyway, that's all I've got. I'm ready to get on with the business.
Are you saying that Vicky Nicewander will be on the DD board as of July 1st? Wonderful, great.
Thank you, Lynn. The next item is approval of last month's minutes. Can I get a motion?
This is Kim. I put in a motion to approve last month's minutes.
And I will second that motion. This is Georgiana.
Any discussion about the minutes? Okay, Stephanie, would you please do the roll call?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rouge,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. All right, and the next item is number 9, vendor invoice list. And that is on page 7.
I'll make a motion to approve the vendor invoice list as presented. Deb?
This is Kim. I'll second.
Okay, I have one question, which I forgot to ask Lynn yesterday. In the very top, April DD 22-078, what is decision support? I just don't know what that is.
So those, the numbers right here, can you see my cursor or am I the only one who can see that?
No, I can see it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So this column of numbers, it refers to contract numbers. So when it looks like that, it's most likely to be an agency contract. In this case, it is. It's paid out of the county treasurer because it's the Regional Planning Commission program, and technically the Regional Planning Commission is they call it a shadow department of the county. We're also a shadow department. So decision support is the name of the contract, but you just don't see like it listed as the agency. Instead, you see it listed under the county treasurer, which is kind of odd.
Okay, so it's the Regional Planning Committee? Okay, thank you. That helps a lot.
I have another question on this vendor list. I compared it with last month's vendor list, and there's one thing missing under last month's vendor list. We paid DSC $64,535
Yes.
for Community First, and this month we did not.
This is Community First is on a unique, it has a unique contract structure, and it has for the last few years. The premise for the contract structure was this program, is part of like the aspiration to transform day programs into like more based in the community than they had been. DSC can't move much further past what the state will do. So this transition has been very slow, but it is what you're paying for with that contract is achievement of benchmarks. And the benchmarks have been changed a few times over the years to be easier to report on, but still meaningful. They have to do with whether a person is being served directly, like if the service is with them or on their behalf, and then if it's in the community or home or at the agency. So these benchmarks really were intended to incentivize moving more into individualized community activities. That has been very difficult to do in the last few years. So the benchmarks have not changed. And later you'll see in the recommendations, we don't want to change those benchmarks right now for the same reason, like just, you know, it's hard for day programs to transform under the current, the larger federal and state delivery systems and also the pandemic conditions which continue. So you don't see it here because Kim and Chris Wilson figure out the amount of the payment after the agency submits that report of how the funds have been used, but they'll receive that payment. You'll see it on the next one. So they'll get, I think it's 100% this time. I might be misspeaking. Is that true, Kim Bowdry? They've hit 100%, so the payment will be.
That's correct.
Okay, so it's just got a little bit of a delay while we look at utilization data to make sure that the benchmarks are achieved. And it's,
So is that amount different each month, or maybe not there at all, or?
no, it's just for the first 6 months of the year, it's on schedule with everything else. It's paid out in advance. And then for the second 6 months, it's reconciled against actual utilization reports, not billings, but similar to billings. The other feature of this is it's the largest contract that either board has. So it seemed appropriate to apply a slightly different strategy to the payments. So the payments are a little bit delayed for that program. And if it were a fee-for-service program, same. Fee-for-service is slightly delayed in the second half of the year. But the payments, it sounds like will be the same amount as they have been. Is that too much of a description? I'm sorry. I gotta work on summarizing.
That was enough. Any other discussion on this?
Okay.
That was very clear, Lynn. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments about the vendor list? Okay, I think we're ready for a roll call. Stephanie, please.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes,
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Ann Robin.
Yes. All right, thank you all very much for that. And we are now about to start the new business, which is the meat of this meeting. And it actually starts on page 8, but the resolutions start on page 18. So I flagged that in my folder. And I'm going to suggest that we have each person who was the primary, and then if not, they can't do it, then the secondary, read the resolution. And then we'll have any discussion that we need to have about the resolution. And then we'll have a vote. Is that in agreement with everybody?
that's fine. Ann, but I'm going to need a reminder of the ones that I was primary on versus
Of
secondary.
course.
Me
I
too.
actually went through and wrote it down, so I will let you know.
Thank you.
All right, I hope I got it right. I think I did. Okay, so the first one is on page 18. It's CCRPC Community Services Decision Support. There it is. Now I know what decision support is. And I'm the primary reviewer. And Georgiana, you're the secondary reviewer. So I'm going to read the motion, which is, I move to approve the CCDDB funding of $388,271 for CCRPC Community Services / Decision Support PCP, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
And now we need somebody to move
I'll
and second.
second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Do we have discussion about this? We had a lot of discussion last month. Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none. Stephanie, would you do roll call, please?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes,
and Robin.
Yes. Okay, so that's the model of how we're going to do this. The next one is Community Choices, Inc., Customized Employment. And Georgiana, you're the primary reviewer.
Okay, I will read the motion. I make a motion to approve the CCDDB funding of $217,500 for Community Choices, Inc. / customized employment, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
This is Kim, I second.
Any discussion? All right, Stephanie, would you please do the roll call?
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
yes,
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
and Robin.
Yes. Okay, so far so good. The next one is Community Choices, Inc., Inclusive Community Support. And Kim Fisher, you're the primary.
This is Kim. I put a motion to approve DDB funding of $203,000 for Community Choices, Inc., Inclusive Community Support, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
I'll second. This is Deb.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie, would you do the roll call, please?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes,
and Robin.
Yes. All right, the motion passes. The next one is Community Choices, Inc., Self-Determination Support. And Deb Rush, you are the primary.
okay, I'll move to approve CCDDB funding of $171,000 for Community Choices Incorporated Self-Determination Support Program, subject to the caveats as presented in the memorandum.
This is Kim, I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie, would you please do the roll call?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes,
and Robin.
Yes. All right, the next one is DSC Clinical Services. And Deb Rush, you are the primary again.
okay, I move to approve CCDDB funding of $184,000 for DSC's Clinical Services Program, subject to the caveats as presented in the memorandum.
And I'll second that because I was the second reviewer. Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie, would you do the roll call, please?
Deb Rush,
Yes,
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
and Robin.
Yes. Okay, I hope this is not too fast for you all. Moving on, DSC Community Employment. And Georgiana, you are the primary.
Okay, I make a motion to approve CCDDB funding of $435,000 for DSC / Community Employment Program, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
I'll second. This is Deb.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie, I think we're ready for the roll call.
Deb Rush,
Yes,
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
and Robin.
Yes. Okay, the next one is DSC Community First, and I am the primary reviewer, so I will read the motion. This is a motion to approve CCDDB funding of $847,000, 650, or $847,658. $847,658. I had trouble reading that, for DSC Community First, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum. I hope that was clear.
This is Deb. I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie, would you do the roll call, please?
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. Okay, and the next one is also mine as primary reviewer, and it is the DSC Community Living. And let's see if I can read this. This is a motion to approve CCDDB funding of $536,000 for DSC Community Living, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
This is Kim. I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie, would you please read the roll call?
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. All right, the next one is DSC Connections, and Deb Rush, you are the primary.
I'll move to approve CCDDB funding of $95,000 for DSC Connections program, subject to the caveats as presented in the memorandum.
I'll second. This is the time for discussion. I'm not hearing any. Okay, Stephanie, you want to do the roll call?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. And the next one is DSC / Community Choices Employment First, and I'm the primary reviewer. So this is a motion to approve CCDDB funding for $85,000 for DSC / Community Choices Employment First, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
This
This
is
is Deb.
Kim.
I'll
I'll-
second.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie, would you do the roll call, please?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. And the next one is DSC Individual and Family Support, and Kim Fisher, you are the primary.
This is Kim. I put in a motion to approve CCDDB funding of $390,000 for DSC Individual and Family Support Program, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
Can we get a second?
I will second it. This is Georgiana.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie?
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. And the next one is DSC Service Coordination, and Kim Fisher, you are the primary.
This is Kim. I put in a motion to approve CCDDB funding of $468,000 for DSC Service Coordination Program, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
And I will second that. Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie?
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. And the next one is DSC Workforce Development and Retention, and Georgiana, you're the primary on this.
All right. I will put in a motion to approve CCDDB funding of $227,500 for PY program year 2023 and $227,500 for program year 2024 for DSC's Workforce Development and Retention Program, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
And I will second that. Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. Okay. Persons assuming control of their environment, PACE, consumer control and personal support, and Deb Rush, you are the primary.
I move to approve CCDDB funding of $27,367 for persons assuming control of their environment, PACE, Consumer Control and Personal Support Program, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum.
And I will second that. This is Georgiana.
Any discussion? All right, Stephanie?
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. All right. The next one is additional IDD program is recommended for funding by the CCMHB. So Georgiana, you are in, it's the Head Start, Early Head Start Mental Health Services. And Georgiana, you are the primary on this one.
Okay. I make a motion to advise the Champaign County Mental Health Board to provide funding in the amount of $149,666 to support the developmental services portion of the CC Head Start / Early Head Start Mental Health Services Program, subject to the caveats as presented in this memorandum and pending approval by the CCMHB.
I'll second. This is Deb.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie?
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. Okay, that concludes the meat of our program, but we have several more resolutions that need to be voted on. They are not dollar amounts, they are administrative. And they start on page 27 and 28. And if it's okay with you, I will read those motions unless somebody else would like to come forward and read them. If so, I will let you do that. The first one is the motion to authorize the executive director to conduct contract negotiations as specified in the memorandum.
I'll second. This is Deb.
Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie?
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes. Okay, the next ones are explained on page 28. And then the motions are on page 29. Did everybody have a chance to read the explanations
Yes.
on page 28?
I did not. Can we go over them a bit? I did.
We can. Lynn, do you want to make a few comments, or Kim, would you like to make a few comments about these special notifications?
So the first one is traditional, and this is actually in the funding guidelines. We just want to affirm this understanding by inserting this language into the contract. It's in the contract every year, but I feel like it's very important for everyone to be conscious of this each year. It has happened once. It was quite painful when this happened before. It was, I believe it was 2009. So it followed the economic crisis of 2008, which had everything to do with properties. So in 2009, which was, I think, my first year in the role that Kim Bowdry currently has. So I was right in the middle of it. The reduction of contracts was across the board, plus some agencies voluntarily gave up some programs. We do not want to find ourselves in that position ever again. Other things that can happen that we've learned since then are lower than expected collection of property taxes, where in 2020, many people chose not to pay their property taxes at all because they didn't feel they were getting government services in exchange for that. I'm not sure if they leveled up later in the form of back taxes, but it was the lowest collection rate we've ever had. So that did not cause us to have to cut any contracts. It just made our, right, this is around the time of the year when we run out of money. We come to the lowest point in our fund balance right in May, as the collector is receiving payments, and that first distribution of property taxes will be in early June, hopefully. Another thing we learned is there was one year where the treasurer's office had such a crisis in manpower and in organization that the first property tax distribution did not occur till July. So that affected the agency payments. It caused payments to go out later, but that crisis did not change the amounts of the contract. This is, to me, I hate this clause, but it is the reality that the fund could be lower than what you've allocated today. I mean, it's partly because you're allocating for a different contract year than the budget year you all have to live on. And so some of this relies on accurate predictions by myself and the county deputy of finance. So I'm just so happy it hasn't happened since 2009. Anyway, so that's the first one.
So let's vote on the first one first so that we can kind of divide this up. Thank you for that explanation. So this is something that's really kind of legally and fiscally necessary. We hope that we would never have to use it.
And if it happened, you would not be left out of the discussion. This would be like a whole special meeting to figure out what to do. So anyway.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or discussion on this motion?
And I don't think anybody put a motion in.
No, we haven't. I was
Oh.
asking for the discussion actually before the motion, and then I'll do the motion. And then if anybody has anything after I do the motion and it's seconded, we can do it that way. I just wanted to have the explanation first because the motion basically refers to the thing and it's good to know what we're voting on.
Makes sense. Thank you.
So I will read the motion to authorize the executive director to implement contract maximum reductions as described in this memorandum.
And I will second that motion. This is Georgiana.
Okay, now do we need any more discussion about this? Okay, Stephanie, you want to do the roll call?
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
and Robin.
Yes. All right, so I think that worked out pretty well. Lynn, do you want to explain the second one to us? And then we'll have the motion and.
So the second one started in, we were engaged in this process in May of 2020. So we were 2 months into mitigation strategies, which were really impacting people with disabilities and the staff who provided their care. So the DD board and the mental health board had both sort of taken to asking the agencies for like quarterly reports on how it's going, what's happening. It was really good information. It was a little extra work for them to provide us that information. I think we're still in the crisis, but the quality of of the crisis maybe hasn't changed a whole lot, so we are not asking for those reports. But we are asking that if an agency needs to make a change in their contract in order to be more responsive to the needs of people who are, you know, unfortunately more affected by COVID-19 than any other population, or virtually any other population, that that would be a contract amendment process. We used to discourage this kind of mid-year realignment, but what we want to do is bring that to the whole board so that we can all learn together about the impact, make that, and the board would make that decision together. This has happened. The small parent support networks made a huge shift in their strategy. They did it together. So there were a couple of contract amendments that y'all approved at the time publicly. Very small amounts of money moved over, but the important thing was we were all getting the information at the same time about this impact and the creative alternative that they came up with. So it was for holiday parties. That's important. So anyway, we leave this in. We have not had very many requests in the last year. I don't even know if we've had any requests for realignment of scope or budget in this last year, but our recommendation is to leave it in because the situation is not gone. We're learning to live with it, but there could be more lessons learned. I don't know if anybody here is an amateur epidemiologist, but I sure am. So you know, we could, it's in so that if there are more surprises, we would again encourage a contract amendment and bring it to the board for a full discussion.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, I'm going to read the motion. The motion is to include in all fiscal year or PY 2023 contracts the COVID-19 provision described in this memorandum.
And I will second that motion. This is Georgiana.
Any more discussion? All right, Stephanie, please.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Ann Robin.
Yes. Okay, and there is one more. Lynn, you're doing such a great job of educating us. I
Oh.
want to continue that.
Well, this one is, remember last year how you looked at those funding requirements and guidelines like 3 times and kept making changes? We're trying to keep our requirements at pace with realities of getting financial accountability. That, you know, we have long relied on independent CPA firms to provide that last piece of accountability. It's really important to us because it is sort of the, you know, the expert word on the good standing of an agency. That's really important. We don't, you know, for funding agencies that are at the precipice of disaster, then we also need to think about the people they're serving and what to do next. So it's not a judgment, it is reality that agencies get strong and then sometimes lose that strength. So that's one of the values of the audit. The other value is that we don't really get reliable, well, I mean, we can. Agencies submit these quarterly financial reports and also tell us about vacancies in their staff. Both of these pieces of information can help us determine whether some money is owed back to the DDB. But the most reliable accounting is in the audit. So we have chosen to wait until we have audits in order to ask for excess revenue back, because it's, you know, rather than ask for it twice or make adjustments. So this is in the process of revising those requirements and guidelines. It became clear that we have to keep up with the reality. CPA firms, some of the local ones, increased their prices right after we made the last version of the requirements. Our attorney who worked on the requirements with us had advised that we put language into the contracts that says the contract can supersede the funding requirements. We thought this was important this year because if an agency is getting hit with a really big bill for that audit that we're requiring, and they can't pay it because we don't allow enough of that to be charged to the contract, that we could make a contract amendment to make an adjustment, we would have to prove that it was a reasonable adjustment, but we could do that without changing the funding guidelines again. So it was, his advice for a broad array of reasons, but then this one really tangible likelihood came up right afterwards. So this is language that was advised by the attorney for all contracts. And I could have just thrown it in there, but I don't really feel like it's fair to add requirements to our contracts without the board approving them.
Okay,
Okay.
appreciate that.
Wait, can I just
All right.
clarify, Lynn, are you saying the payment, so if we had if there was excess revenue, you don't want it until December? Is that what you're saying now?
Well, you guys are so good about figuring out the excess
I
revenue.
just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Okay.
Chris Wilson prefers to wait until the audit is available to verify it. This is,
Just language for the contract.
yeah, like I think for some organizations, it's better to return it right away at the end of the contract. They know what it is. But if you can wait, it is his preference to wait. I know y'all have engaged in active communication with him about that, and I really appreciate that. It's just to avoid you having to cut 2 different checks or, us adjusting a deposit. So anyway.
Georgiana, did you have any question? Or I will read the motion and then we will have a chance for more discussion. This is a motion to include in all PY 2023 contracts the provision for specific exceptions to funding requirements and guidelines as described in this memorandum.
This is Deb, I'll second.
Okay. Any other questions about this one? Okay, thank you very much, Stephanie.
Deb Rush,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Kim Fisher,
Yes.
Ann Robin.
Yes. Okay. We are.
Are
really
questions
doing-
allowed from non-board members? I have a question. This is Julie Palermo. I didn't know if there was questions allowed.
No, they're not actually, unless the chair chooses to suspend the rules, which she might do. But
Okay.
there's a whole agenda item coming up for agency input. So
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Ann Robin might tell you, yes, shoot the question now, or if you don't mind waiting just a few minutes, it's coming up.
Well,
Okay.
actually, the next item is successes and other agency information.
There you
And
go.
I think we are ready for that. So usually this is the time when people share their successes, but if they have questions, go ahead. So Julie, you're recognized.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna turn my camera on. Sorry. Thank you. I just had a question about that last item, about the different agencies that provide with the compilation review. Is there a money threshold on that? Because I know
Yeah,
that we struggled with, the first year was 15,000. So we're a, lower kind of asking grant requests.
The threshold is described in the funding guidelines, which I can put into the chat for everyone, but it should also be in your contract. And
No, I understand that. I know with the different threshold with the compilation review and audit, but I'm saying, was there any consideration taken for the agencies that aren't requesting the $200,000, $500,000 kind of things and only requesting, like having a threshold based upon requesting amount, but still obligated to do those kinds of guidelines that are still the DSC of the 500 and the community choices of that kind of money requested for them? Well, I'm just saying, because we struggled with the first year with the compilation, and I know that we had to reallocate money, and I know you discussed that about keeping up with the private CPA firms and everything. I'm just saying, I guess it's just our experience as a smaller non-for-profit of in the future, maybe that would be a discussion point of getting a threshold of maybe not keeping smaller non-for-profits under the same kind of requirements that the other ones are.
So we could go backwards in time, because we used to allow for some small organizations to do no financial accountability at all. And then some things were happening that were not okay with the money.
Oh, no. Yes, I understand.
Including internally. I don't want to name organizations, but two parent support organizations almost fell apart because of the lack of financial accountability was a wedge between members and created a lot of stress that was difficult for the members. So we thought the best thing would be to establish some kind of financial accountability standard, even for the small contracts. And so far, it looks like that standard is even too much for the small contracts. So what you're
Correct,
saying
yes.
really hits home. So we
Okay.
don't really know what to do, like go back to the old way where the money is actually being misused and then people's relationships are falling apart, or figure out some other type of financial accountability.
So as just our experience, I don't think the old way is the way to go. Number one, there always should be accountability. My suggestion was, I know that as an organization, we struggled with paying $5,000-$6,000 and then having to reallocate, taking from our, so I just wanted to make the board aware of.
I think that
guess
that is
where we
something
came
that
from.
we would encourage people to read the rules before when they say they've read the rules, and read the application instructions, because you can ask for the funding to pay for it, in the
Correct.
budget. So
Yes, but the thresholds were different. So the CPAs came out with more than what the disability board was allocating for that. So we did put that in our budget narrative, but then we had to up it because the CPA firms were requesting more, like what you said, and it has to just be updated as that goes on. So
this
that's
is another new requirement as of last year, was that before the contract is issued, there should be a letter of engagement with the CPA to clarify all of that. That's a new requirement as of last year. I think most of them were submitted late, but that's okay because it was a new requirement. This year, we're asking for them prior to the contract because they will clarify all of that. They
okay.
should list the cost and the expected completion date. So what you're saying really hits home is.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. I just would, and then while I'm on here, I just want to, I know that the CU Autism Network didn't renew our application, so I don't know if I'll ever have the chance, or not ever have the chance, but right now I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity that we received through the Disability Board, and what an impact that has made for our organization and the community. And just to update you really quick, we had our walk May 7th. That was our last event, and we had an amazing turnout. New families come out and enjoyed the day. It was amazing. We had a new sensory museum. Local resources were there. So I just want to let everyone know that through the funding that we received was part of what we used to put that on, and it was an amazing day for all families. So just non-judgmental, able to enjoy the day and celebrate, just fun and being together as and part of a community. So and also it continued with our community outreach. This morning I just did the grand rounds for the residents at Carl Health, and so it's just continuing. So thank you again. I just wanted to kind of update you on the different things that we are doing. So thank you, and thank you for the time. Thanks.
Thank you for your good work. I think that was a very useful discussion. Who else wants to present?
This is Annette from DSC. The Crow at 110 is having an open house this Saturday from 1 to 3. And for the first time since COVID began, we are having 3 outside vendors / artists participating as well. So we're very happy for that return. And one of the new items, we had some people through one of the art groups want to design their own t-shirts. And so everybody came up with their unique design. And I can just tell you, they all have kind of a beach vibe. So it must have been a nice sunny day when they were designing them. But if you have a chance, please stop by.
Say the time again? What?
1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
At the Crow.
Correct.
Okay.
Give us the address of the Crow again. Some of us know that and some don't.
Yeah, 110 East University in Champaign, and it's cat a corner from the Habitat Restore. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, I wish you well for that afternoon and hopefully get out and see some good art and meet some people. Okay, who's next?
This is Hannah from Community Choices. I just wanted to add, this past semester, pretty much since our human rights and advocacy group was able to kind of update you all about what they've been doing. Since then, they've really wanted to be able to share and educate other folks about disabilities, and especially folks who are going to, be working with folks with disabilities in the future. So in this last semester, they've done 3 different presentations for U of I classes, some within the SPED department or the special education department, and some within the School of Social Work. And it's been pretty great. I mean, their presentations have been very well received. The students are very engaged and ask a lot of interesting questions. And it is very, just witnessing the presentations, I walked away thinking like, oh, the future of the field is in some good hands. So, so that's very nice to realize. And then also with, the self-advocates gaining a lot of confidence, they've already been talking about opportunities to either present to, different classes within the departments next semester in the fall, or be a part of maybe some more in-depth specialized discussions on certain topics within those classes. So I think that's really cool. And it's been very great to see the members in the group really grow and be able to share, their experiences and their expertise. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Anybody else that want to come forward during this time? Well, the next items really are just information only. Agency quarterly activity reports, quarterly service data charts, 211 quarterly reports. Is there any comments that any board members have about those reports?
I have a comment. This is Kim Bowdry.
Okay, Kim.
Thank you to Georgiana for noticing that in the DSC clinical program report, I accidentally put the first quarter program report. So I can maybe share my screen and show you all the correct report that was not included in your board packet. And I apologize. And big thanks to Georgiana for finding that, because I don't know how I did that. This is the correct third quarter report if you want to see the numbers. And I can also attach this in an email to you all at the end of this meeting so you can look it over, because there is quite a bit of narrative. So again, thank you to Georgiana for catching that. And I apologize, I'm not sure how I managed to do that.
Kim,
It's a computer thing.
I also missed it, and we can post this as addendum to the board packet. Sorry about that.
Yes, I'll blame the computer. Thank you, Anne, for opening that up for me to do.
Well, when you're working on things and you just click the wrong thing, I mean, it happens all the time. So we need each other to look things over, because if you expect to see a certain thing, you will see that thing,
Yes.
even if it's something else.
Even if it says
So-
first quarter, you'll see third. Yes.
Exactly. I've done exactly the same thing. I think we all have. So thanks to Georgiana and thanks to you, Kim.
Thank you.
So that can be added as an addendum, and then it'll be official that we'll have the correct report. Thank you for that. Any other comments? Okay, so the time schedule, I just want to make a couple comments so that people know what we're doing. I talked to Lynn yesterday, and the June meeting, which we don't know if it'll be Zoom or in person, we will find out later, has a number of agenda items. Lynn, do you want to give us a brief idea of what we're going to be doing in June?
Well, it all depends on Julie Palermo. We want to have a conversation with Julie Palermo so that we can incorporate the lessons that she's talking about. It would be really cool to bring you in June some ideas for what we might do with that SILA fund. I'm struggling to get a final accounting. The year-to-date account is in 2 different places, and I don't know how to use the one system. And then the other system, which I do know how to use, I don't have the information yet. So to bring you a full accounting and the total fund balance could be a challenge in June, but you could still talk about ideas. So we could get at least that far. We really do want to address this issue of, like, we've run off all the parent support networks, which are very valuable to us. So trying to figure out a way to maybe bring them back into our business. So that's one thing. It's, kind of fun to look forward to that. The other thing we need to do that's critically important is a very early look at budgets, because the county budget process, it requires some work in the middle of July and the end of August, and then the county doesn't approve the total budgets until the end of November. But you have authority over the line items in your budgets. So each time I prepare to go to the county, I want to make sure that I have at least initial approval from y'all. So I've got the drafts done. I've been thinking about making some changes to them, but I'm not sure that it's worth the time. I could even send those to you a little bit ahead of the meeting for you to look at. It's really what I will ask for is approval, conditional to, like, there will be changes made in the middle of July when we get better information, and then in late August when we get even more information. There's also an issue I'm looking into, which is there is some historical issue that maybe doesn't affect the DD board. It could affect the mental health board quite a bit. So I'm trying to research that, but this is a tough time to get help at the clerk's office because they're starting early voting tomorrow. So the big issues in June are budget and discussion of SILA fund. Then the other thing that we would like to do is just an update on the expo and what's going on with that so far, because expo planning starts to heat up in June. So anyway, that's the main stuff.
All right. Okay, very good. And then in July, we have our election of board positions. Is that correct? And it looks like we're going to have a full board. So that is really good news. Okay. Well, I just really want to, I guess we have CCMHB input on there. Do we need any comments about that? Lynn is going to be working very hard with the CCMHB. They do the same thing this evening, as we did this morning. It's a lot of work, big day.
That's the best update, except they have over twice as many applications to look at and quite a diversity of agencies too, which each, present their own complicating issues. So they can't do it in one meeting. So they're going to have a study session this evening to discuss our initial recommendations. There's a lot of information still coming in from agencies. So the board needs the extra time. They'll make their decisions hopefully on May 25th, but like, I don't even have a board packet finished for May 25th because we're getting information right now that will impact that. So it's a little bit, it may be tougher for them to find consensus with all the, just, there's so much going on that side. But I'm hopeful that after our discussion tonight, we'll be able to get there. Very importantly, you have advised them to continue funding the DD portion of the Head Start contract. They'll discuss that tonight, but they won't decide on it until May 25th. So that's a really important thing for me to get back to you on. If something goes wrong, I'll be sure to let you know. Goes wrong.
Okay.
Not
thank
quite
you.
what I mean to say, but yeah. Okay.
All right. And then as always, thank you to the staff for your reports and thank you for all of your good work. Any comments about staff reports?
No, I'd just like to second that, and that I really appreciate the staff reports and all the work that they reflect. Thank you all.
And are there any board announcements? Well, I just want to thank everybody once more for this process because I am really, really happy with how we're all working together. I think we've got a really great team. We did a lot of everybody did their homework. We had excellent discussion that was focused, and today went as smoothly as it could possibly go. It was a little surprising to me how smoothly it did go. And I had actually budgeted anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes to get everything approved. And we were really more like 30 minutes. So I'm just really very impressed with that. And what it means is that everybody did their homework in advance and that we were all prepared. So kudos to everybody. Thank you very much. And we'll wish Lynn and the staff well with dealing with the mental health board and all of those difficult decisions. Any other comments?
There are a couple people with hands up and I'm not sure if they mean to.
Okay, I don't see any hands. So are there hands?
Annette Becker and Lushuna Mallet have hands up.
Okay, let me recognize.
Hi, I'm Lashana Mallet. I'm the community organizer for Growing America, but growing in Illinois. And I just wanted to give recognition to being in the meeting today. I have a lot of complications with my internet connection due to the area, the location of the city that I reside in. And so I just wanted to verbally announce that I appreciate being able to attend this board meeting. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And there was another hand raised. I'm sorry, the hands are not showing up on my screen. Maybe I don't know how to make that happen.
It was Annette, but I think she said she already spoke. Am I right, Annette?
Yeah, I think she had it up from earlier when.
Yeah, I forgot to lower it from the last time.
All right. And we appreciate your comments. Is there anybody else that wants to make a comment before we adjourn?
Seeing a lot of thank yous in the chat, but just thank you. I mean, the work and the support and for all the agencies. Hasn't always been the best day ever, but most of the time it is. And I just was remembering Mike Smith and how excited he used to be coming into this meeting when we got to be in person. And even though it's virtual, it still feels really good. And we appreciate everybody.
Thank you. All right, well, I'm going to wish everybody a good morning and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.